She sold her for pocket change to a man who smelled like the streets. 6 months later, Soo-jin stood in the lobby of Kang Industries, clutching an invitation to meet with the CEO, desperately hoping to pitch a business deal that would save her from her gambling debts. The elevator doors opened on the 42nd floor, and Soo-jin walked into the most expensive office she'd ever seen. Then the chair turned around, and Soo-jin's blood ran cold. Because sitting behind that desk, clean-shaven and wearing a suit that cost more than her apartment, was the homeless man. The one she'd laughed at, the one she'd given $100 to take her stepdaughter off her hands. He smiled at her, and it wasn't a kind smile. "Ms. Han," he said quietly, "I believe we have unfinished business." That was the moment Soo-jin realized she hadn't sold Ama to a nobody. She'd handed her stepdaughter directly to the most powerful man in Seoul, and now he was going to collect. "Listen, I need to tell you something real quick. If you're hearing this story and you're already hooked, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now, because this story is about to get wild. You think you know where this is going? Trust me, you don't. The twists coming up are going to blow your mind. So subscribe, stay with me, and let's see just how deep this rabbit hole goes." The woman at the table didn't even look up when she said it. "Sign here." Ama stared at the paper in front of her. The words were in Korean, some in English, but none of it made sense. Her hands shook as she tried to read the tiny print. "What is this?" Ama asked. Soo-jin, her stepmother, finally raised her eyes. They were cold, like looking at a frozen lake. "It's a work contract. You'll be working for someone who needs help. He'll take care of your visa situation." "But I don't understand. I have my inheritance from Dad. I can take care of myself." Soo-jin laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. "Your inheritance? You think you can just take that money and do whatever you want?" Ama's throat felt tight. It had only been 3 weeks since her father died. 3 weeks since the funeral, where Soo-jin stood in the back, texting on her phone while Ama cried. 3 weeks since everything fell apart. "The lawyer said it's mine," Ama whispered. "The lawyer said a lot of things." Soo-jin pushed the paper closer. "But what the lawyer didn't tell you is that your visa was sponsored by your father, my husband, who is now dead, which means I control whether you stay in this country or get on a plane back to Ghana tomorrow." The room felt smaller suddenly. Ama had lived in Seoul for 4 years. She came when she was 22, after her father married Soo-jin and moved here for work. Ghana felt like a lifetime ago. Seoul was her home now. Her friends were here. Her job at the small African goods store in Itaewon. Her life. "You can't do that," Ama said, but her voice cracked. "Can't I?" Soo-jin stood up and walked to the window. Their apartment was small, nothing fancy, but it had been filled with warmth when Dad was alive. Now it felt like a prison. "You owe this family money, Ama. Your father's hospital bills, the funeral, the rent I've been paying while you lived here for free. 50 million won." Ama's mouth dropped open. 50 million? That's not true. Dad had insurance, he told me. Insurance doesn't cover everything. Soo-jin turned around and smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "So here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign this paper. You're going to work for this man until your debt is paid. And then, maybe, we can talk about your so-called inheritance." "This is crazy." Ama stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. "I'm calling the lawyer right now." She grabbed her phone, but Soo-jin was faster. She snatched it from Ama's hand and held it high. "Call whoever you want, but remember, you have 72 hours before your authorized stay expires. I already contacted immigration, told them you're no longer under family sponsorship. So go ahead, call your lawyer, see if he can fix your visa in 3 days." Ama felt her chest tighten. She couldn't breathe properly. "Why are you doing this?" "Because your father left you everything and left me with nothing," Soo-jin said quietly. For a second, just a second, something human flickered across her face. Then it was gone. "Sign the paper." The doorbell rang. Soo-jin walked out of the room and Ama heard voices in the hallway. A man's voice, speaking Korean too fast for Ama to follow. Then another voice, deeper, saying only one word. "Where?" Soo-jin came back with 2 men. One wore a cheap suit that didn't fit right. He had greasy hair and a smile that made Ama's skin crawl. The other man, the one standing behind him, looked like he had been sleeping on the street. Ama took a step back. The homeless man's clothes were dirty, torn at the edges. His hair was messy and too long. He had a beard that looked like it hadn't been trimmed in months. But his eyes, there was something about his eyes. They were sharp, watching everything. "This is her?" the greasy man asked in Korean. Soo-jin nodded. "This is Ama, my stepdaughter." The greasy man looked Ama up and down like she was a piece of furniture. She wanted to run, but her legs wouldn't move. "And this," the greasy man gestured to the homeless man behind him, "is your new employer." Ama found her voice. "No, no way. I'm not going anywhere with him." The homeless man didn't react. He just stood there, silent, watching. Soo-jin crossed her arms. "You don't have a choice. I have a choice. I'm a person. You can't just give me to some random man off the street." "I'm not giving you away," Soo-jin said, and her smile was cruel now. "I'm transferring your work contract and guardianship. It's all legal. Well, legal enough." The greasy man pulled out a document. "She signs here, you sign here, and the payment." "Payment?" The word hung in the air like smoke. "How much?" Ama asked, her voice barely a whisper. The greasy man looked at Soo-jin. Soo-jin looked at the homeless man. The homeless man reached into his dirty jacket and pulled out a small envelope. He placed it on the table. Soo-jin opened it. Inside were some won bills, wrinkled and old. She counted them quickly, and her face twisted in disgust. "This is only $100, she said. The homeless man spoke for the first time. His voice was quiet but clear. "That's what we agreed on." "I thought you said he had money." Soo-jin snapped at the greasy man. The greasy man shrugged. "I said he had cash. He does. Not my fault you didn't ask how much." Ama felt dizzy. Wait, you're selling me? For $100? Soo-jin didn't even look ashamed. At least someone was willing to pay. Something broke inside Ama. All the grief she'd been holding, all the fear, all the confusion, it came out as anger. "You're insane. You're actually insane. I'm not signing anything." She turned to leave, but the greasy man stepped in front of the door. "Move," Ama said. "Sign the paper first," he replied. "I said, move." The homeless man spoke again. "Let her go." Everyone looked at him. "What?" the greasy man asked. "If she wants to leave, let her leave," the homeless man said. He looked directly at Ama. "But you should know, your stepmother already filed the immigration report. By tomorrow morning, there'll be a notice for you to report for deportation processing. If you run, they'll find you. If you hide, they'll still find you. And then you'll be banned from returning to Korea for 5 years. Ama felt tears burning in her eyes, but she refused to cry. Not in front of them. "How do you know that?" He didn't answer. Soo-jin picked up a pen and held it out to Ama. "Sign, or pack your bags. Your choice." It wasn't a choice. It was a trap. But Ama had no way out. Her hand shook as she took the pen. The paper was blurry through her tears. She signed her name, and it felt like signing away her soul. The greasy man grinned. Pleasure doing business. He took the money from the table, counted out his fee, and handed the rest to the homeless man, who put it back in his pocket without counting it. "She needs to pack her things," the homeless man said. "Fine." Soo-jin waved her hand. 10 minutes. Ama walked to her small room in a daze. Everything she owned fit into 2 bags. Clothes, books, photos of her father. She picked up the picture from his last birthday. He was smiling, his arm around her shoulders. She remembered that day. They had eaten Korean fried chicken, and he had tried to teach her how to use chopsticks properly. She kept dropping the food, and they both laughed until their stomachs hurt. Now he was gone, and she was being taken away by a stranger for $100. When she came out, only the homeless man was waiting. Soo-jin had already gone back to her room, didn't even say goodbye. The greasy man had left. "Ready?" the homeless man asked. "Do I have a choice?" Ama shot back. He almost smiled. Almost. "No." They walked down the stairs because the elevator was broken. It had been broken for 2 months, and the landlord never fixed it. Outside, the Seoul night was cold. October air bit at Ama's skin. The homeless man started walking, and she followed because what else could she do? They walked for a long time, past the convenience store where Ama bought her morning coffee, past the subway station she took to work every day, past the chicken restaurant where she and her dad used to eat. Every step felt like leaving her life behind. They ended up in a part of Seoul Ama had never seen before. The buildings here were old, some abandoned. Graffiti covered the walls. There were no convenience stores, no coffee shops, just empty streets and broken lights. The homeless man stopped in front of an old building. The sign above the door was faded, but Ama could make out the word Jimjilbang, a bathhouse. But it looked like it had been closed for years. "We're staying here?" Ama asked. "For now," he said. He pulled out a key and opened the door. Inside, it was dark and smelled like mold and old water. He flicked a switch and some lights came on, flickering and weak, but enough to see. The place was bigger than it looked from outside. There was a front area with old chairs and a broken TV. A hallway leading to what Ama guessed were the bath areas. Stairs going up to a second floor. "There's a room upstairs," the homeless man said. "Second door on the left. It's clean. Lock works from the inside." Ama stared at him. "You want me to just go up there and trust that you won't?" "I don't want anything from you," he interrupted. His voice was tired. "The room locks from the inside. There's a window. If you want to run, run. But like I said, immigration will find you by tomorrow." "Then what do you want? Why did you agree to this?" He looked at her for a long moment. "Your stepmother signed some papers tonight. I need those papers, that's all." "Papers? What papers?" "The contract, the guardianship transfer. It has information I need." "Information for what?" "That's not your concern." He turned and walked toward the back of the building. "There's instant noodles in the kitchen area. Water works. Electricity is on. Get some sleep." And then he was gone, disappeared into the dark hallway. Ama stood there holding her bags, in an abandoned bathhouse, with a homeless man she didn't know, in a part of Seoul she'd never been to. This couldn't be real. This had to be a nightmare. She climbed the stairs slowly. The second door on the left was slightly open. She pushed it with her foot, ready to run if anything jumped out. But it was just a room. Small, with a mat on the floor, a blanket, a pillow. There was a window with bars on it, but it was clean, and the lock, she tested it, worked perfectly from the inside. Ama dropped her bags and locked the door. Then she sat on the mat and finally let herself cry. She cried for her father, for the life she lost, for the fact that her stepmother hated her enough to sell her to a stranger for $100. When she ran out of tears, she lay down and stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow, she would figure out a plan. Tomorrow, she would find a way out of this. But tonight, she just needed to survive. She must have fallen asleep, because when she opened her eyes, light was coming through the window. Morning, she sat up, and every muscle in her body hurt from sleeping on the floor. Her phone. She still had her phone. She checked it quickly. 15 missed calls, all from unknown numbers. 3 text messages. The first one was from immigration. Her heart sank as she read it. Report to immigration office within 48 hours for visa status review. Failure to appear will result in deportation order. The second text was from her friend Yuna. Girl, where are you? The store called me asking why you didn't show up for work. Work. She had completely forgotten about work. The third text made her blood run cold. It was from Soo-jin. Don't try to run. I'll know. Ama wanted to throw her phone against the wall, but she couldn't afford a new one. Instead, she unlocked her door and went downstairs. The homeless man was in the kitchen area, and he was cooking. Actual food. Eggs, rice, some vegetables. The smell made Ama's stomach growl, because she hadn't eaten since yesterday morning. He looked up when she came in. Hungry? No, Ama lied. Her stomach growled again, loud enough for both of them to hear. He almost smiled. There's a bowl there, help yourself. I don't want your food. Okay, He went back to cooking. Ama stood there, stubborn, while her stomach continued to betray her. Finally, she grabbed the bowl and let him put some rice and eggs in it. She ate standing up, refusing to sit down, refusing to make this comfortable. The food was good, really good, which annoyed her even more. "Where did you learn to cook?" she asked, hating herself for starting a conversation. "Here and there," he said. "That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting." Ama put the bowl down. "Look, I don't know what game you're playing, but I'm not stupid. Homeless people don't have keys to abandoned buildings. They don't have electricity and running water. They don't cook like they went to culinary school." He stopped eating and looked at her, really looked at her. "You're right. You're not stupid. So who are you really? Someone who needs those papers your stepmother signed." "Why?" "Because they're evidence." "Evidence of what?" He stood up and walked to the sink, rinsed his bowl. "There's a network in Seoul. People who target migrants, people who don't have secure visa status. They offer them jobs, promise them security, make them sign contracts. Then they basically own them. Force them to work in factories, restaurants, construction sites. Don't pay them proper wages. If they complain, they threaten deportation." Ama felt cold. Human trafficking. Close enough. And the papers Soo-jin signed prove that the network is bigger than we thought. That it's not just small-time criminals. There are brokers, lawyers, even business people involved. "We? Who's we?" He didn't answer that. Instead, he asked, "How much do you know about your stepmother's connections?" "Nothing. She barely talked to me even when Dad was alive. She used a broker last night, the man in the bad suit. His name is Kim Min-suk. He's been on a watch list for 2 years, but nobody could get solid evidence on him. Until now." Ama's head was spinning. "So you're what, a cop?" "Something like that. And you're using me as bait." "No," he said firmly. "I'm keeping you out of it." The contract she signed has Min-suk's fingerprints all over it. Literally. That's all I need. You can walk away after this. "Walk away to where?" "I have 48 hours before immigration deports me." He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I can fix that." "How?" "I know people." "What kind of people?" "The kind who can fix visa problems." Ama laughed, but it came out bitter. "Right. A homeless man who knows people who can fix immigration issues. Sure, why not?" This day can't get any weirder. He turned to look at her and something in his expression changed. "Your stepmother didn't sell you because you're worthless. She sold you because she thought you were powerless. Don't prove her right." The words hit harder than Ama expected. She felt tears coming again, but she blinked them away. "I need to get some air," she said. "Don't go far. This neighborhood isn't safe." "Safer than being here with you," she shot back and walked out. Outside, the morning was cold but clear. Ama walked around the block, trying to think. Her phone buzzed. Another text from Yuna. "Seriously, are you okay? I'm worried." Ama typed back. "Long story. I'm fine. Need a few days. We'll explain later." Yuna responded immediately. "Are you in trouble?" Ama stared at the question. Was she in trouble? She'd been sold to a stranger for $100. She was living in an abandoned bathhouse. Immigration was coming for her, and her stepmother had stolen her inheritance. Yeah, she was in trouble. But she typed back, "No, all good. Talk soon." She didn't want to drag Yuna into this mess. When she got back to the bathhouse, the homeless man was on a laptop, an actual laptop, and not some old broken thing. It looked new, expensive. "Where did you get that?" Ama asked. He closed it quickly. "I have to go out for a few hours. Stay here. Don't open the door for anyone. You can't just lock me in here." "I'm not locking you in. You can leave whenever you want. But if Min-suk's people figure out where you are, it won't be pleasant." "Why would they care about me?" "Because you're a loose end. Soo-jin might talk, you might talk. They don't like loose ends." Fear crept up Ama's spine. "You said I could walk away from this." "You can. After I get what I need. Just give me a few days." "I don't have a few days. Immigration wants me in 48 hours. Then I'll work fast." He stood up and grabbed a jacket. It was as dirty as his other clothes, but Ama noticed something. The way he moved, confident, not like someone who lived on the streets, like someone who was used to being in charge. "Who are you really?" she asked again. He stopped at the door and looked back at her. For a second, she thought he might actually answer. But he just said, "Someone who's trying to do the right thing, same as you." Then he left. Ama spent the next few hours exploring the building. The bathhouse had been nice once, she could tell. There were tiles on the walls with little designs. The baths themselves were drained but still intact. Upstairs, there were more rooms, all empty, except for the one she slept in. In one room, she found something strange, a phone charger, new, still in the package, a box of protein bars, expensive ones from the organic store in Gangnam, a jacket hanging on a hook, and when she checked the inside tag, her eyes went wide. It was a designer brand, the kind that cost more than her rent. What kind of homeless man had designer jackets? She heard the front door open and quickly left the room. When she got downstairs, the homeless man was back, carrying plastic bags. "Got you some clothes," he said, handing her one of the bags. "Figured you might want something clean." Ama looked inside. Jeans, shirts, a warm jacket, all in her size. "How did you know my size?" "Lucky guess." That wasn't an answer, and they both knew it. She pulled out the jacket. Nice quality, simple, practical. "Thank you," she said quietly. He nodded. "There's a bathhouse in the next building that's still running. You can go there if you want to wash up. It's safe. Tell them Park sent you. They won't ask questions." "Park? Is that your name?" "It's what they call me." "What do I call you?" He hesitated. "Ji-hoon. You can call me Ji-hoon." "Is that your real name? Does it matter?" Ama wanted to scream. Nothing about this man made sense, but she just said, "Fine. Ji-hoon, I'm going to that bathhouse because I probably smell terrible." "You don't smell terrible," he said, then caught himself. "I mean, you're fine. Go, take your time." Was he blushing? It was hard to tell under all that dirt on his face. The bathhouse next door was warm and clean and felt like heaven. Ama spent an hour scrubbing away the last 2 days. When she got out, wearing her new clothes, she almost felt human again. On the way back, she saw something that made her stop. Across the street, parked in the shadows, was a black car. Someone was sitting in the driver's seat, watching the bathhouse, watching her. Ama walked faster, got back inside, locked the door. Ji-hoon was at his laptop again. He looked up when she came in, noticed her face. "What happened?" "There's someone outside, in a car, watching." He was up in a second, looking out the window. His whole body went tense. "Pack your things," he said. "What? Why?" "We need to leave, now." "But you said this place was safe." "I was wrong." He was already moving, grabbing his laptop, shoving it in a bag. "They found us faster than I thought." "Who found us?" "Mensah's people, maybe worse." Ama's heart was racing. "Worse? What's worse?" "The people he works for." Before Ama could ask another question, she heard it. The sound of a car door opening, footsteps, more than one person. Ji-hoon grabbed her arm. "Back door, move." They ran through the building, Ji-hoon leading the way. He seemed to know exactly where he was going, like he'd planned escape routes already. They burst through a back door into an alley. "This way," Ji-hoon said. They ran. Ama heard shouting behind them. Heavy footsteps. They were being chased. Ji-hoon pulled her into a side street, then another, zigzagging through the neighborhood. Ama's lungs burned, but she kept running. Finally, he pulled her into a tiny restaurant, barely more than a hole in the wall. An old woman looked up from behind the counter. Her eyes went wide when she saw Ji-hoon. He said something to her in rapid Korean. She nodded and pointed to a door in the back. "Come on," Ji-hoon said. They went through the door into a storage room. The old woman followed and locked the door behind them. She said something else in Korean, and Ji-hoon nodded. "We're safe here," he told Ama. "For now." Ama bent over, trying to catch her breath. "What is happening? Who were those people?" People who don't want me finding what I'm looking for. And what are you looking for exactly? Before he could answer, his phone rang. He looked at the screen and his expression changed. Went hard. He answered in Korean. Ama couldn't understand everything, but she caught a few words. Evidence. Tomorrow. Meeting. When he hung up, he looked at Ama. I need to tell you something. Finally, Ama said. The truth? Some of it. He sat down on a box of supplies. The trafficking network I told you about. It's connected to a major company here in Seoul. One of the biggest. They use these brokers to get cheap labor, illegal workers they can exploit. It's been going on for years, but nobody could prove it, because the company is too powerful. They have lawyers, politicians, police on their payroll. So how are you going to stop them? I've been gathering evidence, documents, testimonies. The contract your stepmother signed is the final piece. It connects the broker directly to the company. And then what? Then I take it public, expose everything. Ama sat down too. Her legs felt like jelly. They'll kill you. Maybe. That's insane. You can't fight a huge company by yourself. He looked at her, and something flickered in his eyes. Who said I'm by myself? What does that mean? His phone rang again. He ignored it. Ama, I need you to trust me for the next 24 hours. Can you do that? Trust you? I don't even know you. I know, but I'm asking anyway. Ama thought about Soo-jin, about being sold for $100, about the life her father wanted for her in Korea, about everything she'd lost and everything she still had to lose. 24 hours, she said. Then you tell me everything. Deal. The old woman brought them food, soup and rice. They ate in silence. Ama's mind was racing. Nothing made sense. Who was this man really? Why did he care about trafficking networks? How did he have money for laptops and clothes but lived like he was homeless? And why, despite everything, did she feel safer with him than she had in weeks? We'll stay here tonight, Ji-hoon said. Tomorrow, things are going to get complicated. More complicated than being chased through Seoul by criminals? He almost smiled. Yeah, more complicated than that. Ama woke up on the floor of the storage room with her jacket as a pillow. Her neck hurt, and her back hurt, and everything smelled like garlic and soy sauce. For a second, she forgot where she was. Then it all came back. Being sold, running, hiding. She sat up and looked around. Ji-hoon was gone. Panic shot through her chest. Did he leave? Did he abandon her here? Then she heard voices from the other side of the door. She pressed her ear against it. Ji-hoon was talking to the old woman. His Korean sounded different now. More formal, more educated. Not like someone who lived on the streets at all. The door opened and Ama jumped back. Ji-hoon stood there with 2 cups of coffee. You're awake! I thought you left. I don't leave people behind. He handed her one of the cups. We need to move soon. There's something I need to do today, and you're coming with me. Where? Silumdong. There's an employment agency there. One of the ones connected to the network. Ama's stomach dropped. You want to go to the people who are looking for us? They're not looking for you. They don't even know you exist yet. As far as they know, you're just another migrant who got processed through Minsuk. We're going to use that. Use that how? You're going to apply for a job. Ama almost dropped her coffee. Are you out of your mind? Probably. He took a sip of his own coffee. But it's the fastest way to get inside their system. You apply, they interview you, they ask for your documents. That's when we see how deep this goes. Who else is involved? What companies they're placing people at? And what if they recognize me? They won't. Minsuk was the only one who saw you. And he's not going to be at this agency. He's a broker. He connects people, but he doesn't do the processing himself. You don't know that for sure. No, Ji-hoon admitted. I don't, but I'm 90% sure. 90%? Ama stared at him. You want me to risk my life on 90%? I want you to help me stop the people who buy and sell human beings like their merchandise. His voice was quiet but intense. Your stepmother sold you for $100. She's not the first person to do something like that, and she won't be the last. Not unless we stop this. Ama hated that he was right. She hated that some part of her wanted to help. Wanted to make sure nobody else went through what she went through. If this goes wrong, she said slowly, if we get caught, what happens? We run. That's your plan? We run? I'm good at running. That's not reassuring. He looked at her for a long moment. I won't let anything happen to you, I promise. You can't promise that. I can try. There was something in his eyes, something that made Ama's heart do a weird flip. She looked away, pretended to be very interested in her coffee. Fine, she said. But if we die, I'm going to haunt you forever. Deal. They left the restaurant an hour later. The old woman gave them a bag of food and said something to Ji-hoon that made him smile. Actually smile. Ama had never seen him smile before. It changed his whole face, made him look younger, almost handsome under all that dirt and messy hair. She needed to stop noticing things like that. They took the subway to Sillim-dong. Ji-hoon had cleaned up a little, still looked homeless but less homeless. Ama wore her new clothes and tied her hair back. Tried to look professional, desperate for work but not too desperate. The employment agency was in a building that had seen better days. 3rd floor. The sign on the door said Global Work Solutions in Korean and English. Remember, Ji-hoon said before they went in, you're here alone. You need a job. Your visa is expiring. You're willing to do anything legal to stay in Korea. What are you going to be doing? Watching. He pointed to a coffee shop across the street. I'll be right there. If anything feels wrong, make an excuse and leave. I'll meet you at the subway station. And if I can't leave? He pulled out a phone. Not his usual phone, a different one. Take this. It's already connected to mine. If you need me, just press the green button. I'll be there in 30 seconds. Ama took the phone. It was heavier than she expected. You just carry around extra phones? Doesn't everyone? He was joking. She thought he was joking. With him, it was hard to tell. She took a deep breath and went inside. The office was small and cramped, desks everywhere. Papers stacked in messy piles. A woman at the front desk looked up when Ama walked in. She was young, maybe 30, with tired eyes and a fake smile. Can I help you? She asked in Korean. Ama answered in her broken Korean. Job. I need job. My visa. Soon finish. The woman's smile got bigger. Wrong kind of bigger. Like a cat seeing a mouse. Of course. Please, sit down. Let me get some information from you. Ama sat. The chair was uncomfortable. The woman pulled out a form and started asking questions. Name, age, country of origin, current visa status, previous employment, housing situation. Ama answered carefully. Used a fake last name. Said she was staying with a friend. Said her visa was sponsored by her previous employer who went out of business. The woman nodded along, writing everything down. And what kind of work are you looking for? Anything, Ama said. I work hard. I need to stay in Korea. Do you have family here? No family. More nodding, more writing. Okay, we have several positions available. Factory work, restaurant service, cleaning services. The pay is decent, and we handle all the visa paperwork. How much pay? That depends on the position, but don't worry, it's all legal. We make sure our workers are protected. The way she said protected made Ama's skin crawl. I want to know more, Ama said. Of course. Let me get my manager. He can explain the contract details. The woman got up and went to a back office. Ama heard voices, low, urgent. She couldn't make out the words, but the tone was clear. They were discussing her. Her hand went to the phone in her pocket. Not yet. She needed more information. The woman came back with a man. He was older, maybe 50, with gray hair and an expensive watch. He smiled at Ama and sat down across from her. Welcome, he said in English. I understand you're looking for employment. His English was perfect, too perfect. Yes, Ama said. We work with many companies here in Seoul. Good companies. They need reliable workers and we provide them. In exchange, we help with visa situations, housing, even legal support if needed. What kind of companies? Manufacturing, hospitality, service industry, all reputable. And the visa help, how does that work? We become your sponsor. The company technically employs you, but we handle all the paperwork. It's much easier this way. Less bureaucracy. How much does this cost? The man's smile didn't change. There's a small processing fee, 2 million won, but we can deduct it from your salary over time. Very reasonable terms. 2 million won, about $1,600. For people who were desperate, who had no other options, it would seem like a miracle, a way to stay in the country, a way to survive. But Ama knew better now. Once they had you in the system, once you owed them money, they owned you. I need to think about it, she said. The man's smile finally cracked. Think about it? Your visa expires when? 2 weeks, Ama lied. 2 weeks is not a lot of time. Immigration doesn't wait. If we start the paperwork now, we can have you processed in 10 days. But we need your commitment today. I still need to think. The man leaned back. His friendly mask was slipping. Let me be clear. You're from Ghana, correct? African migrants don't have a lot of options in Korea. The companies we work with are willing to sponsor you despite that. If you walk away from this opportunity, you might not get another one. There it was. The threat wrapped in a smile. Ama stood up. Thank you for your time. The woman at the desk stood up too. Wait, don't you want to hear about the housing options? I'm good. Ama walked to the door. Her heart was pounding. Almost there, almost out. Ms. Mensah, the man said. She froze. She hadn't given them her real last name. She turned around slowly. What did you call me? The man smiled. Ama Mensah, daughter of Robert Mensah, deceased. Stepdaughter of Han Soo-jin, currently wanted for questioning by immigration services. The room felt like it was spinning. How do you know that? We know a lot of things. We know your stepmother recently transferred your guardianship. We know you're living in an abandoned bathhouse in Mullydong. We know you're running out of time. Ama's hand was in her pocket, fingers on the phone. I'm leaving. You could, the man said. Or you could sit back down and we can discuss a real solution to your problems. We can make your immigration issues disappear. We can make sure your stepmother never bothers you again. All we ask is that you sign a simple contract. What kind of contract? Employment. 3 years. You work where we place you. You don't ask questions. You don't make trouble. In exchange, you get to stay in Korea. You get paid. You get to live your life. As a slave, Ama said. The man's face went cold. As an employee, there's a difference. No, there isn't. She pressed the green button and ran. Got out the door, down the stairs, her feet pounding on the concrete. She heard shouting behind her, the woman yelling something in Korean, heavy footsteps following. She burst onto the street and looked around wildly. Where was the coffee shop? Where was Ji-hoon? Then she saw him, running toward her, not limping or stumbling like a homeless man, running like an athlete, fast and controlled. He grabbed her hand. This way. They ran together. The street was crowded. Lunch hour. People everywhere. Ji-hoon weaved through them like he knew exactly where he was going. Ama held on tight and followed. They ducked it into an alley, then another, then through a restaurant kitchen. The workers yelled at them, but Ji-hoon said something sharp in Korean, and they backed off. Out the back door, into another street, onto a bus just as it was pulling away. They rode it for 10 minutes, then got off and caught the subway. Changed lines twice. Finally, Ji-hoon pulled her off at a station Ama didn't recognize. They came up in a completely different part of Seoul. Tall buildings, clean streets, expensive cars. Gangnam. Ji-hoon led her into a coffee shop, a nice one. The kind with leather chairs and soft music and coffee that cost more than a meal. He ordered 2 drinks, and they sat in the back corner. Ama was shaking. Couldn't stop. They knew, she said. They knew everything about me. My name, my father, where we were staying, how. Ji-hoon's face was grim. Soo-jin. She must have told them. Why would she do that? Money. Or fear. Maybe they threatened her. Maybe she's more involved than we thought. Ama put her head in her hands. This is insane. We can't fight these people. They're everywhere. Hey, Ji-hoon's voice was soft. Look at me. She lifted her head. He was leaning forward, his eyes locked on hers. You did good in there. You got information. You got out. That's what matters. They're going to keep coming. Yes. So what do? We finish this. He pulled out his laptop. You confirmed what I suspected. That agency is directly connected to the trafficking network. They're not just brokers, they're processors. They identify vulnerable people, trap them in debt, place them in jobs where they can be exploited. Did you record any of that? Better. He turned the laptop so she could see the screen. While you were inside, I hacked their network, got their client list, every company they place workers at, every person they've processed in the last 5 years. Names, contracts, payments. Ama stared at the screen. Hundreds of names, maybe thousands. How did you hack them from a coffee shop? I'm good with computers. That's not an answer. He closed the laptop. Ama, there's something I need to tell you. Her heart did that weird flip again. What? Before he could answer, someone walked up to their table. A man in a suit, an actual nice suit. He looked at Ji-hoon and his eyes went wide. Sir? The man said in Korean. Is that you? Ji-hoon's whole body went tense. The man continued in Korean, speaking fast. Ama caught a few words. President, company, meeting. Ji-hoon responded in Korean, his voice low and urgent. The man nodded and walked away quickly, but he kept looking back like he'd seen a ghost. Ama stared at Ji-hoon. What was that? Nothing. That wasn't nothing. He called you something. President? What does that mean? Ji-hoon stood up. We need to leave. No. Ama stayed in her seat. I'm not going anywhere until you tell me the truth. All of it. Who are you really? He looked around the coffee shop. A few people were staring now, whispering. One person had their phone out, taking a picture. Not here, Ji-hoon said. Please, trust me, one more time. I'll explain everything, but not here. Ama wanted to argue, but something in his voice stopped her. He looked worried, actually worried, and Ji-hoon didn't worry about anything. She stood up and they left together. Outside, Ji-hoon walked fast, kept his head down, put on a baseball cap that he pulled from his jacket. People were still staring. Where are we going? Ama asked. Somewhere we can talk privately. They ended up at a hotel. Not a cheap hotel, a really nice hotel. The kind with a doorman and a chandelier in the lobby. Ama felt completely out of place in her simple clothes and messy hair. Ji-hoon walked straight to the front desk like he owned the place. The woman behind the desk looked up and her professional smile froze. Mr. Kang? Mr. Kang? Ji-hoon said something in Korean. The woman nodded quickly and handed him a key card. Didn't ask for ID, didn't ask for payment. Just gave him the key like she was honored to do it. They went up to the 15th floor. Ji-hoon opened the door to a suite. Not a room, a suite, with a living area and a separate bedroom and windows that looked out over all of Seoul. Ama stood in the middle of the room and turned to face him. Talk, she said, now. Ji-hoon took off his cap, ran his hand through his messy hair, took a deep breath. My name is Kang Ji-hoon, he said. I'm the CEO of Kang Industries, one of the largest manufacturing and technology companies in Seoul, worth about 300 billion won. The room was silent. Ama's brain couldn't process the words. You're what? I'm rich, very rich. The homeless thing, living in the bathhouse, all of it. It's not real. I've been undercover for the last 3 months, investigating a labor trafficking ring that's connected to my own company. Ama sat down. Her legs wouldn't hold her anymore. Your company? Not me personally, but executives in my company. People I trusted. They've been using the employment agencies to source illegal labor, paying them almost nothing, threatening them with deportation if they complain. I found out 6 months ago, and I've been trying to gather enough evidence to expose them without tipping them off. So you pretended to be homeless? I needed to understand how the system worked from the ground level. The brokers, the agencies, the whole network. If I showed up as myself, as the CEO, everyone would clean up their act, hide the evidence. I needed to see it as it really was. Ama's mind was racing. The bathhouse, the laptop, the way you move, the way you talk. None of it makes sense for a homeless person. I know, I got sloppy. Started to forget the character, especially around you. Why especially around me? He looked at her, and something in his expression made her heart race. Because you're real. Everything about this investigation has been fake. Fake identity, fake relationships, fake life. But you, what happened to you, the way you fight back, it's all real. I forgot to pretend around you. Ama didn't know what to say, didn't know what to feel. Angry, betrayed, relieved. All of it at once. You used me, she finally said. No, I protected you. You let me think I was trapped with a homeless man. Let me think I had nowhere to go. You didn't have anywhere to go. That part was true. Soo-jin really did sell you. Immigration really is looking for you. The trafficking network really does want you under their control. None of that was fake. But you lied about everything else. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you the whole truth. That's the same thing. Ji-hoon sat down across from her. You're right. I'm sorry. I should have told you sooner. But I couldn't risk it. If you knew who I was, if you acted differently, if someone noticed, the whole investigation could fall apart. And now? Why tell me now? Because we're close. The evidence we got today from that agency, combined with the documents Soo-jin signed, it's enough. I can take this to the prosecutors, expose everyone involved, but it's going to get dangerous. They're going to fight back, and I need you to know what you're getting into. What I'm getting into? I'm already in it. I've been in it since Soo-jin sold me to you. I know, and I'm trying to get you out. Your immigration status, I can fix that today. One phone call. I know people at the immigration office. They owe me favors. I can get you a proper visa, legal status, everything. Ama stood up and walked to the window. Seoul spread out below her. Millions of people. Millions of lives. Somewhere down there, Soo-jin was probably counting her $100. Somewhere down there, other people were being sold, trapped, exploited. Before we go any further, I need to say something. If this story has you on the edge of your seat right now, you need to hear what happens next. We're about to get into the part where everything explodes. Where Ama makes a choice that changes everything. So stay with me. Keep listening. And if you're watching this on YouTube, drop a comment telling me what you think Ama should do. Should she trust Ji-hoon or walk away? I want to know what you think. She turned around and looked at Ji-hoon. Really looked at him. Under the dirt and the beard and the messy clothes, she could see it now. The confidence, the intelligence, the power. If you can fix my immigration status, she said slowly, then do it. But I'm not walking away. Ama, you don't have to do this. Yes, I do. You said it yourself. I'm not powerless. And I'm tired of people treating me like I am. Soo-jin, the immigration system, that agency, all of them thought they could control me because I'm a migrant, because I'm African, because I'm alone. They were wrong. Something changed in Ji-hoon's expression. Respect. Maybe more than respect. Okay, he said, then we do this together. But we do it my way. No more running into dangerous situations. No more improvising. We plan everything. Agreed. And you listen to me when I say something's too risky. Only if you listen to me when I have a better idea. He almost smiled. Deal. His phone rang. He looked at the screen and his expression went hard. It's my assistant. I need to take this. He answered in Korean, his voice completely different now. Authoritative, sharp, the voice of someone used to giving orders. He paced while he talked, and Ama watched him transform from the quiet homeless man she'd been living with into someone else entirely. When he hung up, he looked worried. What's wrong? Ama asked. My VP of operations, the one I suspect is running the trafficking operation. He's called an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning. He's going to propose a major new labor contract with one of the employment agencies. The one we visited today? Probably. If that contract goes through, hundreds more people will get trapped in the system, and it'll be legitimate. Approved by the board. Approved by me. Can you stop it? Not without revealing what I know. And if I do that now, before we have all the evidence secured, they'll destroy everything. Cover their tracks. We'll lose our chance. Ama thought for a moment. Then we need to get the rest of the evidence before the meeting. That's impossible. The meeting is at 9 a.m. tomorrow. It's already 5 p.m., so we have 16 hours. Ama, we can't break into my own company and steal files in 16 hours. Why not? You're the CEO. You have access to everything. Not to his personal files. Not to the encrypted servers. He's not stupid. He's kept everything hidden, even from me. Then we don't break in. We make him give us access. How? Ama smiled. Soo-jin. She's greedy, and she's desperate. If we offer her enough money, she'll do anything, including helping us get to your VP. Ji-hoon stared at her. That's actually brilliant. I know, but it's risky. Everything is risky. He looked at her for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone. Okay, let's call your stepmother. It took Soo-jin 3 rings to answer. Who is this? Ji-hoon had put the phone on speaker. Ms. Han Soo-jin, this is Kang Ji-hoon. I believe we met recently. There was a long pause. The homeless man? Not exactly. Ji-hoon's voice was smooth. I'm the CEO of Kang Industries. You may have heard of us. Another pause. Longer this time. This is a joke. It's not, and I have a business proposition for you. One that could be very profitable. Why would you call me? Because you have something I need, and I have something you want. Money. A lot of it. Ama could practically hear Soo-jin's greed through the phone. What do you need? Soo-jin asked. Information. About the broker who connected us. Kim Min-suk. I know you've worked with him before. I need to know who else he works with. Names. Companies. Details. Why should I tell you? Because I'll pay you 5 million won for every useful piece of information. And I'll make sure immigration forgets all about the fraudulent guardianship papers you signed. Soo-jin was breathing faster now. Ama knew that sound. It was the sound of her stepmother calculating profit. 10 million, Soo-jin said, per piece of information. 7 million. Final offer. Fine, but I want half up front. You'll get it when we meet. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. I'll send you the address. How do I know this isn't a trap? You don't. But you're not in a position to be picky, Ms. Han. From what I understand, you have creditors looking for you. This money could solve a lot of your problems. That was news to Ama. Soo-jin had creditors? 6 a.m., Soo-jin said. Don't be late. She hung up. Ama looked at Ji-hoon. She has creditors? I had my people look into her finances. She's in debt, deep debt, gambling mostly. That's probably why she was so desperate to get your inheritance. And you're going to pay her 7 million won. I'm going to promise to pay her 7 million won. Whether she actually gets it depends on whether she's useful. That's cold. That's business. Ama didn't know if she liked this version of Ji-hoon, the CEO version. He was harder, more calculating. But maybe that's what they needed right now. So what's the plan? She asked. We meet Soo-jin, get the information, use it to track down the VP's connections. Then we hit him where it hurts. His reputation, his money, his freedom. And the board meeting? I'll handle that. But first, we need to get you somewhere safe for the night. I'm staying with you. Ama, that's not a good idea. Why not? We're partners now, right? Partners stick together. He looked like he wanted to argue but didn't. Fine, but you take the bedroom. I'll sleep on the couch. This is your hotel room. And you're my guest. They stared at each other. The air felt heavy, charged. Ama looked away first. Okay, but I'm ordering room service. If you're secretly a billionaire, you can afford to feed me properly. Ji-hoon laughed. Actually laughed. It was a good sound. Order whatever you want. They spent the evening eating expensive food and going over the plan. Ji-hoon showed Ama the evidence he'd collected. Photos, financial records, testimonies from workers who'd been exploited. It was overwhelming. How long have you been working on this? Ama asked. 6 months actively, but I suspected something was wrong for over a year. Workers disappearing, complaints being buried. I just couldn't prove it. Why didn't you go to the police? Some of them are involved. I couldn't risk it. That's terrifying. Yeah, they worked until midnight. Finally, Ji-hoon closed his laptop. You should get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be long. Ama nodded, but she didn't move. Ji-hoon? Yeah? Thank you. For not actually being a creepy homeless man. For helping me. For all of this. He smiled. A real smile. Thank you for not giving up. For fighting back. You're stronger than you know. Her heart did that flip thing again. She really needed to stop doing that. Good night, she said quickly, and went to the bedroom. She lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling. Her mind wouldn't stop racing. Everything had changed so fast. 2 days ago, she was grieving her father and dealing with Soo-jin. Now she was in a luxury hotel, working with a billionaire CEO to take down a trafficking ring. Her life was insane, but for the first time since her father died, she felt like she had purpose, like she mattered. She fell asleep thinking about Ji-hoon's smile. The alarm went off at 5 a.m. Ama groaned and rolled out of bed. When she came out of the bedroom, Ji-hoon was already up, and he was different. He'd showered, shaved, his hair was clean and styled. He wore a simple black shirt and jeans, but they were nice, expensive. He looked like a completely different person. He looked good. Really good. Ama's brain short-circuited for a second. Ready? He asked. Yeah. Give me 10 minutes. She took the fastest shower of her life and got dressed. When she came back out, Ji-hoon handed her a coffee. We need to leave in 5 minutes, he said. Soo-jin is always early when money's involved. They met Soo-jin at a 24-hour cafe in Gangnam. She was already there, sitting in the back, looking tired and angry. Her eyes went wide when she saw Ji-hoon. You actually are him, she said in Korean. I actually am, Ji-hoon replied in English. He sat down across from her. Ama sat next to him. Soo-jin looked at Ama, and her expression twisted with hate. You? You're with him? Surprise, Ama said flatly. This is a setup. It's not, Ji-hoon said. We really do need information, and we really will pay for it. But first, I need to know something. How deep are you in this? In what? The trafficking network. Are you just a customer, or are you part of the operation? Soo-jin's face went pale. I don't know what you're talking about. Ji-hoon pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. These are your bank records for the last 2 years. 6 deposits from Kim Min-suk, totaling 20 million won. What were those payments for? Soo-jin didn't answer. Let me guess, Ji-hoon continued. You referred people to him. Other migrants. People in vulnerable situations. He paid you a finder's fee. That's not illegal, Soo-jin said, but her voice shook. It is when those people end up in forced labor situations. That's called human trafficking, Ms. Han. That's 10 to 15 years in prison. Soo-jin looked like she might throw up. But, Ji-hoon said, his voice softer now, if you cooperate, if you give us everything you know about Min-suk and his network, we can make this go away. You'll get your money, and you'll walk away clean. How do I know you won't just turn me in anyway? You don't, but I'm a businessman, Ms. Han. I don't break deals unless the other party breaks them first. Ama watched her stepmother calculate the odds. Finally, Soo-jin nodded. What do you want to know? Soo-jin talked for an hour straight. And with every word, Ama's stomach twisted tighter. The network was bigger than they thought. Min-suk wasn't just a broker. He was part of a whole chain. There were people at immigration who looked the other way. Lawyers who created fake contracts. Factory owners who requested workers specifically from the trafficking network because they were cheaper and easier to control. And at the top, funding everything, was a shell company owned by someone inside Kang Industries. Do you have a name? Ji-hoon asked. His voice was calm, but Ama could see his jaw clenching. No, Soo-jin said. Min-suk never told me, but I know the company name, Daehan Solutions. Ji-hoon went very still. You're sure? Yes. Why? He didn't answer. Just pulled out his phone and started typing rapidly. His face got darker with every second. What is it? Ama asked. Daehan Solutions is a subsidiary of Kang Industries. It was created 3 years ago by my VP of Operations, Choi Sang-jun. He told the board it was for overseas manufacturing contracts. Ji-hoon looked up, his eyes hard. But according to this, all their transactions are domestic. And every single payment goes to employment agencies. So he's definitely the one running it, Ama said. Not just running it, he created it. He's been using company money to fund a human trafficking operation for 3 years. Soo-jin shifted uncomfortably. Can I have my money now? Ji-hoon pulled out an envelope and slid it across the table. Half now. Half when we confirm everything you told us is true. Soo-jin grabbed the envelope and stood up. We're done then. Not quite, Ji-hoon said. One more thing. The documents you signed when you sold Ama to me. I need the originals. I don't have them. Mensah took them. Then you need to get them back. That's impossible. He's not going to just hand them over. Then be creative, Ms. Han. You're good at that. Ji-hoon's voice was ice cold. You have until tonight. Bring me those documents and you get the rest of your money. Don't, and I send everything we discussed this morning to the prosecutors, along with your bank records. Soo-jin's face went red. You said we had a deal. We do. And part of that deal is you getting me those documents, so get 'em. Soo-jin looked like she wanted to argue, but she knew she was trapped. She turned and walked out without another word. Ama watched her go. You really think she'll do it? She doesn't have a choice. And she's desperate enough to try anything. They left the cafe and got into a car that was waiting outside. Not a taxi, a private car, with a driver who called Ji-hoon Sir and didn't ask any questions. Ama was still getting used to this version of reality. Where are we going? She asked. My office. I need to access the company's servers and pull every file connected to Daehan Solutions before Choi realizes we're onto him. Won't he notice you're there? Not if I'm careful. It's Sunday. The building should be mostly empty. Kang Industries was in a tower in Gangnam that seemed to touch the clouds. The lobby was all glass and steel and modern art. The security guard at the desk stood up when he saw Ji-hoon and bowed deeply. Ji-hoon said something in Korean, and the guard nodded. Didn't ask about Ama, just handed Ji-hoon a security pass and gestured to the elevators. They rode up to the 42nd floor in silence. The elevator was so smooth Ama barely felt it moving. When the doors opened, they stepped into an office space that looked like something from a magazine. Everything was clean, organized, expensive. Ji-hoon led her to a corner office with his name on the door. Inside, the view was incredible. All of Seoul spread out below them. But Ji-hoon didn't even glance at it. He went straight to his computer and started working. Ama sat on the couch and watched him. His fingers flew across the keyboard. Multiple screens lit up with data, files, spreadsheets. He was completely focused, completely in his element. This was who he really was. Not the homeless man, not the undercover investigator. This, a CEO, a leader, someone who built an empire and was willing to tear it down to expose corruption. Got it, he said suddenly. Got what? Everything. Financial records for Daehan Solutions going back 3 years, payment schedules, contracts with employment agencies, names of workers they placed. It's all here. That's good, right? It's perfect. This is exactly what we need to prove Choi's been running the operation. He started downloading files to a secure drive. With this and the documents from Soo-jin, we can show the direct connection between my company and the trafficking network. His phone rang. He looked at the screen and frowned. It's Choi, he said. Don't answer it. I have to. If I ignore him, he'll get suspicious. Ji-hoon took a breath and answered. Vice President Choi, what can I do for you? Ama couldn't hear the other side of the conversation, but she watched Ji-hoon's face change. I see, Ji-hoon said. Yes, I'll be there. 9 a.m. sharp. Thank you for the reminder. He hung up. What did he say? Ama asked. He wanted to confirm I'll be at the board meeting tomorrow. Said he has an important presentation and he needs my full support. He has no idea you know. No, which gives us an advantage. He's going to walk into that meeting thinking he has everything under control, and then we're going to destroy him. There was something scary about the look in Ji-hoon's eyes, something cold and calculating. This wasn't just about justice anymore. This was personal. What's the plan for tomorrow? Ama asked. I present first. Before he gets a chance to propose his labor contract, I show the board everything we found. The trafficking network, the illegal payments, The exploitation of workers. All of it. And then? Then I call the prosecutors. They'll be waiting outside. Choi gets arrested in front of everyone. What about the other board members? What if some of them are involved? I thought about that, but I've been going through the financial records. The money trail only leads to Choi. He's been hiding this from everyone, including the board. He knew they'd never approve it. So he's been acting alone. Looks like it, which makes this easier. Ji-hoon's phone buzzed. A text message. He read it and smiled. Actually smiled. Soo-jin came through. She got the documents from Min-suk. She's bringing them tonight. How did she manage that? I don't want to know, but it means we have everything we need. They spent the rest of the day preparing. Ji-hoon put together a presentation. Ama helped organize the evidence, matching worker testimonies to company payments, creating a timeline of the trafficking operation. It was dark outside when they finally finished. We should eat something, Ji-hoon said. It's going to be a long night. He ordered food. Real food, not instant noodles. Korean barbecue, japchae, kimchi, rice. They ate in his office, sitting on the floor, because Ji-hoon said the conference table was too formal. Can I ask you something? Ama said between bites. Sure. Why did you really go undercover? You could have hired investigators, private detectives, people who do this professionally. Ji-hoon put down his chopsticks. Because it's my company, my responsibility. When I found out what was happening, I felt sick. These people were using my name, my resources, my money, to hurt vulnerable people. I couldn't just hand that off to someone else. I needed to see it myself, understand it myself, fix it myself. That's brave. That's guilt. There's a difference. No, Ama said firmly. It's brave. Most people in your position would have just covered it up, protected the company's reputation, fired a few people and moved on. You didn't do that. You risked everything to make it right. He looked at her, and something passed between them, something warm and electric. You know what I realized while I was pretending to be homeless? Ji-hoon said quietly. What? That I'd forgotten what actually matters. I spent so much time building this company, making money, playing corporate games. I forgot about real people. Real problems. You reminded me. Me? Yeah. The way you fought back even when you had nothing. The way you refused to give up. You reminded me what strength actually looks like. Ama's heart was pounding. Ji-hoon. His phone rang again. The moment broke. It was Soo-jin. She had the documents. They met her in the lobby of Kang Industries. She looked terrible. Hair messy, makeup smeared, like she'd been crying. She handed Ji-hoon a folder. Everything's there. The contract I signed. The guardianship transfer. Min-suk's business card with his real contact information. Some receipts from payments he made. Ji-hoon looked through it quickly. This is good. This is really good. Can I have my money now? He handed her another envelope. Count it. Make sure it's all there. Soo-jin counted it twice. Then she looked at Ama. I'm sorry, she said. Ama blinked. What? For selling you. For everything. I was desperate and angry, and I took it out on you. That wasn't fair. It wasn't a great apology. It wasn't even a good apology. But it was something. You stole my inheritance, Ama said. You tried to have me deported. You sold me to a stranger for $100. I know. Sorry doesn't fix that. I know that too. They stared at each other. Years of resentment hung between them. My father loved you, Ama said finally. I never understood why. You were always cold to me, always angry. But he saw something in you. So I'm going to give you one chance. Take that money, leave Seoul, start over somewhere else, and don't ever contact me again. Soo-jin nodded slowly. What about the prosecutors? You said... I said we'd make it go away if you cooperated. Ji-hoon interrupted. You cooperated, so it goes away. But if I ever hear about you doing anything like this again, that protection disappears. Understand? I understand. Soo-jin turned to leave, then stopped. Ama, your father would be proud of you. The way you handled all this. You're stronger than I ever was. Then she left, and Ama realized it was the first honest thing Soo-jin had ever said to her. You okay? Ji-hoon asked. Yeah, I think I am. They went back upstairs. It was past midnight now. The board meeting was in 9 hours. You should rest, Ji-hoon said. There's a room here for overnight stays. It has a bed, shower, everything you need. What about you? I'm going to review the presentation a few more times. Make sure everything's perfect. Ji-hoon, you've gone over it 100 times already. It's perfect. It has to be more than perfect. It has to be bulletproof. Choi is going to fight back. His lawyers are going to look for any weakness. I can't give them one. Ama understood. This wasn't just about winning. It was about making sure justice actually happened. Okay, she said, but at least drink some coffee. You look exhausted. He smiled. Yes, ma'am. She went to the overnight room, but she couldn't sleep. Her mind kept racing. Tomorrow, everything would change. Either they'd win and the trafficking network would be exposed, or they'd lose and Choi would bury everything. And then what would happen to her? Ji-hoon said he could fix her immigration status, but what if he couldn't? What if this all fell apart? She must have fallen asleep eventually, because the next thing she knew, someone was knocking on the door. Ama? It's 7:30. We need to get ready. She got up and splashed water on her face. Ji-hoon had left clothes for her outside the door. Professional clothes, a nice blouse and slacks. They fit perfectly. When she came out, Ji-hoon was in a full suit, and he looked incredible, completely transformed. This was the CEO the world saw. Confident, powerful, in control. Ready? He asked. Ready. The boardroom was on the 45th floor. Huge windows, a massive table, leather chairs, everything designed to intimidate. Board members started arriving at 8:30. They all greeted Ji-hoon with respect, some with warmth. Nobody asked who Ama was. They probably assumed she was an assistant. Choi arrived at 8:45. He was a tall man, late 50s, with gray hair and an expensive suit. He smiled when he saw Ji-hoon. President Kang, good morning. Vice President Choi, good morning. They shook hands. Ama watched Choi's face. He had no idea what was coming. The meeting started at 9 exactly. Good morning, everyone, Ji-hoon said. He stood at the head of the table. Thank you for coming on short notice. I know Vice President Choi called this meeting to discuss a new labor contract, but before we get to that, I have something urgent to present. Choi frowned slightly but nodded. Of course, President Kang. Ji-hoon pulled up the first slide of his presentation. It showed the Kang Industries logo. 3 years ago, this company created a subsidiary called Daehan Solutions. The stated purpose was to handle overseas manufacturing contracts. Vice President Choi proposed it and the board approved it. Everyone here remembers that vote. Nods around the table. What you don't know, Ji-hoon continued, is that Daehan Solutions never handled a single overseas contract. The room went quiet. Next slide, financial records. Instead, Daehan Solutions has been making payments to domestic employment agencies. Over 300 million won in the last 3 years. Confused murmurs. These agencies specialize in placing migrant workers, people with unstable visa status, people who are desperate, people who are vulnerable. Next slide. Photos of the employment agency Ama had visited. The same one. The agencies trap these workers in debt, force them to sign exploitative contracts, place them in factories and restaurants where they work for almost nothing and can't complain because they're threatened with deportation. The murmurs got louder. This is human trafficking, and it's been funded by our company for 3 years. Choi stood up. His face was red. This is absurd. President Kang, I don't know where you got this information, but it's clearly false. Daehan Solutions is a legitimate business operation. Is it? Ji-hoon pulled up another slide. Bank records. Then explain these payments. 20 million won to Global Work Solutions, the same agency that was raided by police yesterday for labor trafficking violations. That was news to Ama. She looked at Ji-hoon. He'd called the police already? 15 million to New Hope Employment, currently under investigation for document fraud. Click. 30 million to Hanbit Services. Shut down last month after 12 workers came forward with testimonies of forced labor. Click, click, click. More agencies, more payments, more evidence. Choi's face had gone from red to white. I was told these were legitimate businesses. If they were breaking the law, I had no knowledge of it. Really? Ji-hoon's voice was cold. Because according to this email, you requested workers specifically with unstable visa status, because they would be easier to control. He pulled up an email. Choi's name at the top, the words right there for everyone to see. The boardroom erupted, people shouting, demanding explanations. One board member stood up. President Kang, are you saying Vice President Choi knowingly participated in human trafficking? I'm saying he orchestrated it, created it, profited from it. Okay, before this gets even more intense, I have to pause for just a second. If you're still here, if you've listened to this whole story, you're amazing. This is the moment everything comes together. The moment Ama gets justice. And trust me, what happens in the next few minutes is going to blow your mind. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of our stories. Hit that bell icon. And keep listening, because we're not done yet. Choi grabbed his briefcase. I don't have to listen to this. These accusations are baseless, and I'll be contacting my lawyer. Please do, Ji-hoon said. But you might want to wait, because there's someone here who wants to talk to you. The boardroom doors opened. Two prosecutors walked in. Behind them, 3 police officers. Choi froze. Vice President Choi Sang-jun, one of the prosecutors said in Korean. You're under arrest for human trafficking, financial fraud, and corruption. You have the right to remain silent. Choi tried to run. But the police were faster. They grabbed him, pushed him against the wall, put him in handcuffs. He was screaming. Something about this being illegal, about having rights, about suing everyone. Nobody listened. The police dragged him out. The boardroom was chaos. People talking over each other. Someone was crying. Someone else was on the phone. Ji-hoon stood there, calm, waiting for the noise to die down. Finally, one of the older board members spoke. President Kang, this is a disaster for the company. No, Ji-hoon said. This is accountability, and it's going to make us stronger. The media will destroy us. The media will report the truth, that we discovered corruption in our own company, and we dealt with it, that we cooperated with prosecutors, that we put people over profit. Ji-hoon looked around the room. This company was built on integrity. We lost that somewhere along the way. Today, we get it back. Silence. Then, slowly, people started nodding. The meeting ended an hour later. Ji-hoon had answered every question, addressed every concern, and laid out a plan for moving forward. By the time people left, they looked shaken but determined. When the room was finally empty, Ji-hoon sat down heavily. That was the hardest thing I've ever done, he said. Ama sat next to him. You were amazing. We were amazing. None of this happens without you. I just visited an employment agency. You walked into danger to get information. You stood up to your stepmother. You refused to give up. He turned to look at her. You're the hero of this story, Ama. Not me. Her throat felt tight. What happens now? Now the prosecutors build their case. They'll arrest Min-suk and the other brokers. Shut down the agencies. Free the workers trapped in the system. And me? My immigration status? Already handled. I made some calls this morning. You have an appointment at immigration tomorrow. They're going to issue you a proper visa. No more deportation threats. No more uncertainty. Just like that? Just like that. Ama felt tears coming. Happy tears this time. Thank you. Don't thank me. You earned this. They sat there for a while, watching Seoul through the windows. The city looked different now. Less scary. More like home. What will you do now? Ji-hoon asked. I don't know. Get a better apartment, I guess. Keep working at the store. Figure out what to do with my inheritance. You could do more than that. Like what? Like help people who are going through what you went through. Migrants who need legal support. Workers who are being exploited. Someone who understands the system from the inside. Ama thought about it. You mean like a non-profit? Exactly like a non-profit. and I know someone who would be very interested in funding it. Let me guess. A CEO who owes me for helping take down a trafficking ring. Ji-hoon smiled. Something like that. It was a good idea. Actually, it was a great idea. Ama could help people. Make sure nobody else got sold for $100. Make sure vulnerable people had someone fighting for them. I'll think about it, she said. Take your time. The offer stands whenever you're ready. His phone rang. He glanced at it and sighed. I have about 100 calls to return. Lawyers, prosecutors, public relations. This is going to be a long week. Do you want me to go? No, he said quickly. Then softer. I mean, you can stay if you want. If you don't have anywhere else to be. I don't. Good. They spent the rest of the day together. Ji-hoon made phone calls. Ama researched what it would take to start a non-profit. They ordered food. Talked. Laughed. It felt normal. Easy. Right. Around 8 p.m., Ji-hoon finally put his phone down. That's enough for today. My brain is fried. Mine too. Want to get out of here? Go somewhere that isn't this office? Where? I know a place. He took her to the Han River. They walked along the path, watching people ride bikes and have picnics and live their normal lives. This is where I come when I need to think, Ji-hoon said. When the corporate world gets too loud. It's nice. Yeah. They walked in comfortable silence for a while. Then Ji-hoon stopped. Ama, I need to tell you something. Her heart started beating faster. Okay. When this whole investigation started, it was just about the company, about fixing a problem. But then I met you, and everything changed. Changed how? I started caring about more than just the evidence. I started caring about you, about what happened to you, about making sure you were okay. He turned to face her. And now that this is over, now that you're safe, I realize I don't want to stop caring about you. Ama's breath caught. Ji-hoon, I know this is complicated. I know we met under the worst circumstances. I know you probably think I'm crazy, but I really like you, Ama, and I want to know if maybe you feel the same way. She did. Of course she did. She'd been trying not to feel it, trying to convince herself it was just the stress and the danger and the adrenaline. But it wasn't. It was real. I do, she said. Feel the same way. But this is scary. I know. We're from completely different worlds. I know that too. And we barely know each other. So we get to know each other. Properly this time. No more secrets. No more running. Just us. Ama looked at him. Really looked at him. The man who had protected her when he could have used her. Who had risked everything to do the right thing. Who had seen her at her lowest and still thought she was strong. Okay, she said. Okay? Let's try. Let's see what happens. Ji-hoon's smile was bright enough to light up the whole river. Yeah? Yeah? He reached for her hand. She let him take it. They stood there, holding hands by the Han River, and Ama felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. 6 months later, everything had changed. The prosecutions had gone through. Choi was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Min-sok got 8 years. 15 other people connected to the trafficking network were arrested and charged. Over 200 workers were freed from exploitative contracts, given proper documentation, connected with legal support. Many of them decided to stay in Korea. Some went home. All of them had choices now. Kang Industries took a hit in the media. But Ji-hoon was right. The company came out stronger. They implemented new labor policies, created an ethics oversight committee, became known as a company that actually cared about doing the right thing. And Ama, she had started her non-profit. The center in Itaewon was small but growing. They offered legal aid, language classes, job placement, community support. Everything she wished she'd had when she first came to Korea. She was there now, teaching a conversational English class to a group of migrant workers from Bangladesh, Vietnam, and Nepal. Okay, good job everyone, she said. Same time next week. The students packed up their things, thanking her in a mix of languages. When they left, Ama started cleaning up the classroom. The front door opened. She heard familiar footsteps. You're late, she called out. Traffic was terrible, Ji-hoon said, walking into the classroom. He was in his CEO clothes, suit, tie, perfectly styled hair, but he was carrying takeout bags and smiling like an idiot. I brought jollof rice from that Ghanaian restaurant you like, he said. You're forgiven. They sat on the floor and ate, like they had that first night in his office. It had become their thing. No matter how busy they got, they always made time to sit on the floor and eat together. How was your day? Ama asked. Long, boring, a lot of meetings about quarterly projections and market analysis. Sounds terrible. It was. How was yours? Good. We had 3 new people come in for legal consultations. And that family from the Philippines, remember them? They got their visa extensions approved. That's great. I know. They were so happy they cried. Ji-hoon reached over and took her hand. I'm proud of you. You know that, right? You tell me every day. Because it's true, every day. Ama smiled. They had been doing this for 6 months now. Dating. Actually dating. Going to movies. Meeting each other's friends. Being normal people with normal problems like who forgot to buy milk and whose turn it was to choose the restaurant. It was the best 6 months of Ama's life. My dad would have liked you, she said suddenly. You think so? Yeah. He always wanted me to find someone who saw me as an equal. Someone who respected me. You do that. Your dad sounds like he was a good man. He was the best man. They finished eating and cleaned up together. Outside, Seoul was getting dark. The streets were filling with people heading home from work, students going to dinner, couples on dates. Ama's phone buzzed. A message from Yuna. Girl, please tell me you're coming to karaoke tonight. We miss you. She typed back. Can't tonight. Have plans. Next week? Yuna sent back a string of sad emojis followed by, fine, but you're singing twice with me. Deal. Yuna wants me to go to karaoke, Ama told Ji-hoon. You should go. I know you've been busy with the center. I said I had plans tonight. We didn't have plans. We do now. Ama stood up and held out her hand. Come on. Where are we going? You'll see. She took him to the roof of the building. It wasn't much. Just a flat space with a view of the neighborhood, but someone had put up some lights and plants. Made it nice. This is where I come when I need to think, Ama said. When the work gets overwhelming. It's perfect. They stood there, looking out over Itaewon, the neighborhood that had become Ama's home, the place where she'd built something real. Ji-hoon, she said. Yeah? Thank you. For everything. For saving me. For believing in me. For helping me build this. You saved yourself, Ama. I just helped a little. You helped a lot. He pulled her closer. We helped each other. That's what partners do. Is that what we are? Partners? I hope so. I mean, if you want to be. Ama pretended to think about it. I guess you're okay. Just okay? Maybe slightly better than okay. He laughed and kissed her forehead. Soft, gentle, safe. They stood there for a long time, holding each other, watching the city lights come on one by one. Ama thought about where she'd been 6 months ago. Broken, scared, sold for $100 to a man she thought was homeless. And now look at her, running a non-profit, helping people, in love with a man who saw her as an equal, living the life her father wanted for her. What are you thinking about? Ji-hoon asked. How far I've come. How far we've come. Yeah, that too. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was an email. From immigration. Her permanent residency application had been approved. She showed Ji-hoon. He picked her up and spun her around. This is amazing. Congratulations. I can stay. I can actually stay. Of course you can stay. This is your home now. And it was. Seoul was her home. Korea was her home. Not because of a visa or a piece of paper, but because she'd fought for it, earned it, built a life here that mattered. My father told me Korea would be my second home, Ama said quietly. He was right, but I had to fight for the key. Ji-hoon squeezed her hand. And you won. We won. Yeah, we did. They stayed on the roof until the stars came out, making plans, dreaming about the future, talking about expanding the center, about helping more people, about building something that would last. And somewhere in the city, in a tiny apartment she was packing up to leave, Soo-jin counted her money one more time. It wasn't enough. It was never enough. But maybe this time, in a new city with a fresh start, things would be different. She picked up a photo, the only one she'd kept, her wedding day with Ama Mensah. He was smiling at the camera. She was smiling at him. "I'm sorry," she whispered to the photo. "I'm sorry I wasn't better. For you, for Ama. I'm going to try now. I'm really going to try." She put the photo in her suitcase and closed it. Tomorrow she'd be gone, and maybe that was for the best. Back on the roof, Ama's phone buzzed one more time. Another email, this time from one of the workers she'd helped. A woman from Myanmar who'd been trapped in a factory for 2 years. The email said, "Thank you for giving me my life back. I'm going to college now. I'm going to be a nurse. Because of you, I have hope." Ama showed it to Ji-hoon. They both smiled. "This is why we do it," Ji-hoon said. "Yeah, this is why." And somewhere in the city, hundreds of other people were living their lives, people who had been freed from exploitation, people who had been given second chances, people who were building futures they thought they'd never have. All because one woman refused to give up, refused to be powerless, refused to accept that being sold for $100 was the end of her story. It was just the beginning. All right, we've reached the end of Ama's story. And wow, what a journey it's been. From being sold for $100 to building a non-profit and finding love. From powerless to powerful. If this story moved you, if it made you feel something, I need you to do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that like button. Drop a comment telling me what part of the story hit you the hardest. And share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who needs to know that no matter how dark things get, there's always a way forward. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And remember, you're never as powerless as people want you to believe. Keep fighting, keep hoping, and I'll see you in the next story.